All right, we are back in another episode of Line for Line. I have a very special guest in the building today. I do believe this is like my most famous interview I've ever had. Like the biggest YouTuber I've ever met in my life like is coming on my channel on Line for Line podcast. I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself to the world, sir.
Sure, man. I'm Rishab. You guys probably know me from the Windy City Productions. I have a YouTube channel where I do a bunch of Bears videos. I do, prediction videos, highlight videos, all that good stuff. And yeah.
How'd you get into that, bro? Because like when I watch your stuff, it's like I really just sit there and amazed by the work and the content you put out.
Look, the biggest podcast where you can learn them lessons. Line for line where you can learn from different sections. Made it out the mud, come tell your story, blessings. Never know who listening, never know who stressing. Devon gave you a voice, come speak your honest truth. Line for line, go bar for bar, it's up to you. Wanna talk sports, gov, and politics? Wanna talk about where you from and your accomplishments? The Line for Line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week.
Bears like way more than I've ever been before. So I was like, why not just make like a video just, recapping or kind of like compiling some of the highlights of like the players that I like that are coming on the team. So pretty much what I did that day was that I just went on my phone, just screen recorded a bunch of highlights, just put them together to like a random song, and kind of made my first hype video, and I posted it on YouTube, not expecting it to really go anywhere. But then I saw a few weeks later it has like 5,000, 10,000 views, and then a couple months later it has like almost 90,000 views. So it honestly just started out of nowhere. I don't have like specific training to make like videos. I never went to like college for making videos, so pretty much everything I know is just from me experimenting by myself or just learning from YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. So it's honestly just something that started by accident.
My favorite episode that you ever put out definitely was David Montgomery when you put his highlights over the box song. I literally run on the track to that song. It just gives me so much hype, like especially when you hear the commentator and he takes off, he's off to the races. You know what I'm saying? It was just a great montage. Like how do you sit there and put things like that together?
Basically, I kind of just think of like what I wanted to look like in my head, and then I kind of like write down some ideas, and then like I just attempt to find the clips and like the audio and whatnot to make it as close to what it's like in my head. So it's kind of like I've always loved being like creative and just like making stuff, but it's kind of just it's I don't have like a set process for it, but I know where to get clips now because there's a couple websites to get them from, and then audio I know where to get as well. So it's I kind of know where to like get the stuff, but it's kind of just like a process of you know um doing it as I go pretty much, right? So
Now, when you started this, what was your vision for it like? What did you think it was going to be as the day you started?
like the YouTube channel or just like the videos in general.
Just the YouTube channel, the video making, everything that you do with the Windy City.
Yeah, dude, honestly, I did not think it would go anywhere, like being dead honest. Like when I first got my couple hundred, like first couple hundred subscribers, I was like, oh my God, like people are actually wanting to subscribe to my channel and stuff like that. So I thought I was just gonna do this for fun, which I still do this mainly for fun. Like this is obviously not my full-time job or anything, but it's a good like side hustle for me. And like I definitely did not expect to get like to where I'm at right now, like 26,000, whatever it is now. So yeah, it's definitely blown past my wildest expectations for sure.
Great. What's the feeling like, being able to wake up and know that people are looking to you for important information that they use in their daily life?
I mean, it doesn't seem real to me still because I never saw myself as a person that was like gonna be like popular on YouTube or anything because that's just not my type of personality. So I was kind of like shocked by it, but I mean it's also cool too, right? Because I've met so many cool people. I've gotten to talk to some Bears players as well. Eddie Jackson I've DM'd before. Justin Fields also like responded to my message once, which I was like freaking out about. So yeah, dude, it was insane, man. So all that stuff, I would say it's definitely really cool. I still don't like view myself as like a famous person or anything, but it's cool to have this like community that I can talk to.
Especially Bears, Bears Twitter. I love Bears Twitter. I literally wake up every morning and it just feels like I'm waking up to like a family, because You have this group over here of people that you're really really close with. You have this. It's just like all insane being like just like in that genre in that time right now. You know.
A lot better right now too because we actually have a quarterback that we can get excited about, unlike last year.
Yeah. When's the last time you felt such an electric feeling, like the feeling of Justin Fields being in Chicago? Yeah.
Last year was bad, man. Never, dude. Like honestly, never. I've never felt this way. Like with Trubisky, I was like trying to be hyped up about him because I did not want him on draft day, but a couple like obviously during his second year of like when we were winning all those games, I was trying to hype myself about Trubisky and saying, "Oh, he's gonna take a step up in year three and be potentially an MVP candidate in year three," and obviously that never happened. So it was kind of just like false hope with Trubisky, and with Fields, it's like I actually believe this guy can be, an MVP candidate like sometime in the future.
Now, with the Trubisky thing, who would you say that was more on? Would you say it was more on coaching, or do you think it was just more on his physical capabilities out there on the football field?
Think it's a mix of both, to be honest, because the fact of the matter is we still got to the playoffs two times with Trubisky, which I feel like is obviously a combination of him, making plays against the poor teams, but also, even though Matt Nagy, I don't have the most faith in him, he still got at least something out of Trubisky. Like for example, in the 2018 season, we still, we had a pretty good season. He went to the Pro Bowl too, so I think that they both have flaws, obviously, but the fact that Trubisky is signed as a backup right now in Buffalo, like if he was actually a good, really good prospect, some team probably would have given him a second chance to start like Sam Darnold got with the Panthers. So I think the fact that nobody really wanted to give Mitch a second chance, it really speaks volumes about his, potential in this league. Which I'm not saying he can't be a good player eventually, but I just don't think, you can't just put the blame only on Matt Nagy because Trubisky himself had a lot of flaws in my opinion.
Now, my only issue with this, I obviously support the kid. I think that he had talent, but what I like to tell people is, excuse me, when is the last time that you've seen the Bears have an established quarterback coaching around that quarterback to be able to produce him and show him the ropes, when have we had that identity at quarterback? The Bears have never had that. So, and that's a little bit of criticism that Justin Fields is facing as well too, because the Bears have never been that team who know how to develop a quarterback, who have had a quarterback as well too. And in Trubisky's defense, he got to a team as a rookie, already having to learn another offense from North Carolina going to Chicago. He got to a team with no quarterback. Obviously, they had Glennon, but you see how that worked out. So now all of a sudden, I'm supposed to come in and just turn the culture around. And then don't forget that I'm already on the clock now because it's like, okay, this kid has talent now. Let's throw him in there, and it's time for him to win. So I think a lot of quarterbacks do face that, and I feel like a lot of it is not on the quarterback as well too. But with the Bears and Mitchell Trubisky, I see it as a 50-50 thing.
Totally agree with that. You said it perfectly.
What are your hopes of this season? How many games have you been going to, and have you been attending?
So I haven't attended any games just yet. I went to two preseason games, so that was pretty fun. We won obviously the first one, then lost the second one pretty badly against the Bills. But I'm definitely gonna go to maybe like one or two later on in the season. I was busy with school right now and with other stuff going on, so I didn't get to go to one right now. But definitely gonna go to at least one or two. How about you? Have you went to any?
Season it's gonna be cold outside when I go to a game. Seriously, it's gonna be snowing. Oh, that's serious. How would you say that they're doing so far, like with their expectations?
Probably according to expectations so far, probably surpassing some people's expectations because some people didn't think we would even be contending at all this year for even like a wild card spot. So I think some people had us at only getting like 4 or 5 wins this season, which for those people were way surpassing expectations because we beat a team like the Bengals. We beat, obviously, last week we won as well. So, for those people, yeah, we're surpassing expectations. But for people like me, I feel like I pretty much expected this to happen. Like I predicted, I predicted 9-8 for this season for our record. So I think we're on pace for that right now. So
I definitely had the Bears as a 10-win team, and I believe that they still have the potential to be as well. There's just so many things on both sides of the ball that they have to address. And if you think about the offensive side of the ball, offensive line, obviously, what are you seeing from the play of the offensive line right now that you think needs to be addressed?
protection obviously has to be better. Right now, it's being kind of disguised because we're running the football a lot, which they're actually pretty good at run blocking, like all across the board. Jason Peters, James Daniels, like pretty much all of our guys up front have been pretty good run blockers. But in pass protection, yeah, in pass protection though they've been like kind of slow, not really as good against the elite pass rushers. So I think that obviously going forward, pass protection has to be better. But we are going to get Larry Borum probably back eventually. Like I don't know exactly when he's coming back. I think I heard like maybe a couple more weeks from now. So when he's back, I think that should be a big boost because if he's playing left side, right side, wherever, he's a much better pass blocker in my opinion than what we have right now. And then obviously we got Tevin Jenkins coming back eventually. I don't know if he's coming back this season, but
We won't see him until next season, the start of next. That would be the safe bet, especially as a big man coming back from a back surgery as well too. Definitely sit him and let him cook on the side. How concerned are you with this David Montgomery injury, knowing that we just had to put Damian Williams down for COVID protocol as well too?
honestly, I'm not that concerned at all. Like I know this guy is our best player on offense right now. Yeah, Al Robinson has been doing that much right now. So Monty has by far been our best player this year, but we just have so much running back depth and our blocking up front has been so good too that I feel like it's not hurting us that much. Like you saw last game, Khalil Herbert, the rookie, he had like 18 carries for whatever it was, like 75 yards and pretty good yards per carry too. So I think because of the depth that Ryan Pace got for us, it's not going to be a big factor for us right now, the Monty injury that is. And, going forward, I think we should be fine too. But obviously now we don't have the depth because Damian Williams is out too, but long term we should be fine.
What's the latest on Tariq Cohen? Have you heard?
I mean if you ask me, I don't know if he's going to be playing this season because just based on like what I've heard from like people that have been around the situation, been in the building, like they really don't think that Tariq Cohen is coming anytime soon. And if he's not coming back anytime soon, then why not just I guess it doesn't make sense to bring him back when, this is probably not going to be a Super Bowl season and we already have pretty good running backs right now. So I really don't know what they're going to do with Tariq Cohen long term. Like I think Damian Williams we only have on a 1 year deal, so he's probably not re-signing with us. So I'd assume that next year Tariq Cohen will be reassuming that Damian Williams kind of role, but I don't think he's coming back this year, man. I mean it's unfortunate because I don't know exactly what happened, but I guess he's not recovering as well from the ACL injury as they thought he was gonna be.
Being just a shifty gadget back as well too, I can kind of see why it would be so hard for him to bounce back from the injury, because everyone's different, obviously. But just for like the moves that he does, I feel like that's what's holding him back as well too. How excited are you about the passing attack that we've been seeing come to life? Because when Darnell Mooney touches the ball, I definitely feel the electricity in the air.
I mean, we haven't seen anything at all though so far because I think we're still like bottom of the league in passing yards because we just don't pass the football that much. Like Bill Lazor's only passed the football like 19, 20 times the last two games. So I think that seeing Justin Fields and his ability to throw the football down the field, that's obviously making people very excited. And when this offense actually explodes, it's gonna be hella fun, man. Like we're actually gonna be scoring like maybe 20, 30 plus points a game when this thing actually gets rolling. And with a quarterback like Justin Fields, with his deep accuracy, with Darnell Mooney, with all the speed we got, it's definitely going to be fun eventually. But right now it's still kind of going slow in my opinion.
To finally see the Bears throw the ball, like how many times year after year we just see them throw these dinky 5 yard passes or throwing behind the line of scrimmage for the ball to see the ball in the air in Chicago. That's crazy because we've been known for running backs year after year, so that's what's crazy to me as well.
His stats. So I think it was like deep ball rate. So Justin Fields, like in his 3 games he's played, he actually has the highest deep ball rate in the entire NFL, like higher than Russell Wilson, higher than Aaron. Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to come down eventually, probably when he has more snaps, but still, like he's got a lot of deep balls.
For him to be at 15.3% at this point in the season, when you have gunners out there like Matthew Stafford who's lighting it up right now, like you got to see the upside to this kid. You got to just show excitement of what this kid can bring. That's the best part. Now let's cross sides and go over to that defense. With the defense, I just want to start. What is up with Eddie Jackson? Because we've been making excuses for him year after year, week after week. Like, oh, well, it was because of this, it was because of that. Like, help us understand what's going on with him.
he's just not playing up to par, man. And I don't know like why that is because everything around him now is working pretty well. Like he has a pretty good pass rush in front of him. He has a number one cornerback, Jalen Johnson, performing pretty well. Honestly, better than Kyle Foote was performing last year. Like that's how good Jalen Johnson's been this year. And probably the biggest weakness on our defense right now is definitely like both the safeties, like Deshaun Gibson and Eddie Jackson, which I did not expect that at all, dude. Like especially with Sean Desai, like putting everybody else in a very good position to succeed. I thought that Eddie Jackson especially would be benefiting the most, but I honestly don't know. Like it could just be a case of us, paying really, paying a lot for this guy and maybe he's not as motivated. I don't want to say that that's what's happening, but sometimes it kind of feels like it because it just feels like he's not putting his full effort into tackling. His speed doesn't feel the same either. Like he's kind of slow back there in coverage sometimes, not really recognizing the routes and all. So, I don't know, man. Like it's tough to say. I just hope he like figures it out and turns it around eventually. Because he's still getting paid like a crazy amount of money right now.
Exactly, and that's a complete liability when you have a guy like Devontae Adams like twice out of the year, if not more, if you're talking playoffs and things of that nature as well too. So like, we definitely have to tighten that up right now, seriously. And to Sean Gibson, yeah, coming off of an injury as well too, so I can see why he's like slower on the side of the ball as well too. But what are you feeling about that front seven?
It's nasty, man. It's totally nasty. Like I didn't expect to lead the NFL in sacks right now, which we have like 18 so far. So it's coming to life now. Like this is what I thought we were gonna be like last season when we signed Robert Quinn. With Robert Quinn getting like a crazy amount of sacks already, he has like 4.5 sacks or something, and then Khalil Mack already having like five as well. So I think that obviously the Robert Quinn becoming healthy again, then also Sean Desai, all the creative stunts he's doing up front, like all the twisting and turning and like bunch of crazy stuff he's doing up front that's obviously helping us out a lot. And then also, man, Eddie Goldman coming back, like that's been big for our run defense up front. Like you saw the last game, man, he was like balling out there, right? Like we didn't allow Josh Jacobs to do much of anything there. So I think that those factors are really why our front seven has been like freaking amazing this year so far.
Two players on the come up that you have to mention. You obviously have to mention Travis Gibson. The emergence of this young kid is something special. Just week in and week out, you just see the things that he can do as a young player at that. I think this kid has a potential in the league as well. And then obviously Robert Quinn playing up to par as well. That's insane as well too. I didn't expect him to do that. It's like we saw you last year, and I was just like, oh, we overpaid for him. But now I think what it was just nagging injuries he still had last year, which wasn't causing him to perform. Because I do believe he had some back issues last year. If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he actually had a dropped foot injury, which I don't know if that was like confirmed or not, but it's apparently like a very painful injury where he has like some nerve damage in his foot, so that was like hurting him a lot last year. So yeah,
With the type of position he is, he has to dig in the ground a lot too. So I definitely can see why that. And another player to watch too, I definitely like the way Kyrus Tunga gets after the quarterback. Just a solid guy. You see him just in the backfield wreaking havoc, play in, play out. So I definitely think there's some emergence with him.
this has really added like a lot of depth on the D line. I mean, he does it pretty much every single year, but like seems like every year we have four or five really good defensive linemen. So
What would you rate his overall draft performance from what we've seen from him so far?
that's kind of tough because like I'm obviously way higher on Ryan Pace than most people in the fan base are because I feel like the one mistake he made was drafting Trubisky. If he didn't make that mistake, we probably would have had a Super Bowl in 2018 potentially. So I think that mistake obviously hurts him a lot. And obviously all the second round busts he had, like Adam Shaheen. Obviously Kevin White was a bust as well. Yeah, Baby Grant, dude, that guy is not performing well. And then also yeah, I mean, also Cole Kmet too. I'm not saying he's a bust or anything, but he hasn't been performing at the level that we would like him to perform, so far. So I think his early round picks have kind of hurt him, but with all the like late round picks he gets every single year, like Darnell Mooney, like early on in his career, like Jordan Howard, like practically every year he gets a good fourth, fifth round player. I think overall I'd probably give him like a B minus just because he's a better drafter on average than most GMs in the league. It's just that his first round picks have hurt him like so much in the past at least.
Yep, I totally agree with that as well too because he's hit on a lot. but just like you said, the Trubisky thing hit him pretty hard. What, as a Bears fan, what would you say was the reason that they picked him over Deshaun Watson, who had just won the title with Clemson, and over a guy like Patrick Mahomes?
I don't know, man. I mean, that never made sense to me at all because I know the scouts and everything, they thought that Mitch had better potential long term because I don't know. I mean, he had, I guess, a more natural throwing motion and he was more of a pocket passer, which that's what they like to see, I guess, in college, at least back then. Or I don't know exactly what it was, but it never made sense to me because, like you said, Deshaun Watson, won the national championship. He was out there just doing crazy things in college. Patrick Mahomes, though, I understand not picking him because he was pretty raw in college. Like most people didn't think he was going to turn into anywhere close to what he is today. So, I mean, I'm okay with passing on Mahomes because nobody knew he was going to be that good, but Watson never made sense to me, man. So I honestly, that's just a mess up on Pace's part.
Into now leading into Sunday, we got the Green Bay Packers coming into Soldier Field. What do you expect from this game?
So I released my prediction video like a couple hours ago, but pretty much I think it's gonna be a close game. I think that the Bears are definitely gonna be in this the entire way just because okay, so the Packers they're missing a crazy amount of people for this game. Okay, so they have Jair Alexander, number one corner, out. They have Zadarius Smith, the number one pass rusher, also out. And their offense so far this year just hasn't been like as elite as it usually is. They're actually ranked like bottom 15 in like a bunch of different categories. So I think that obviously Aaron Rodgers being there is gonna be like that's the scariest thing, right? Because this guy always finds a way to beat us. So I don't think we're gonna win by a lot, but I actually picked us to win this by like 3 points just because I feel like our defense at home is balling out, man. It's only allowing like I think like 15 points per game and like getting like 5, 6 interceptions. So I think we're gonna win this. What do you think, by the way?
There's just some key points that the Bears have to stick to if they want to win this game. Obviously, get pressure on Rodgers. If not every play, yeah, obviously you won't do it every play, but get pressure on Rodgers, and really double team Adams. Double team. Make sure you know where he's at all times. If a receiver's gonna beat us, don't let it be him. Let it be Randall Cobb or whoever else they have. Seriously, you know where 17's at all game. And obviously, if you get to the red zone, capitalize in the red zone. And when I say that, I mean touchdowns, no field goals. So capitalize there seriously. And no, no worries.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but they actually have the worst red zone defense in the entire NFL. Like they allow touchdowns in 100% of their drives. So that should definitely help us out, hopefully.
Yeah, especially with no Jair Alexander for them, and obviously their guy Kevin King, he has been stinking the place up all year. Obviously, because I still watch a little bit of Packers and watch other football as well too. He's been stinking it up, so they definitely have to capitalize on that. But and focus on the run game as well too, because the Bears. They're known to just abandon the run game, and then you're trying to dig yourself out of these holes, like a 3rd and 19. Like, come on, like you can't with Aaron Rodgers, you cannot play like that. You have to make sure you're up there with him. So I definitely can see the Bears losing this game, and I'm a diehard Bears fan. But I'm just so used to the Green Bay Packers just like ruining my dreams. I'm just so used to it. Both teams are coming off a win as well too. I go with Aaron Rodgers on this, and I'm a diehard Bears fan, obviously, but I'm going with Aaron Rodgers on this one. Yeah,
What final score prediction? What score prediction do you have?
seriously, I see them winning like 28 to maybe 13 or something crazy like that. Seriously,
Dang. Yours is probably more realistic than mine. I'm probably being a little bit optimistic, but I also feel like we have more of a chance than I don't know. I think most people think just because our defense, man, like that's the main reason. Like this is the first time since 2018. I feel like we can actually stop a good amount of like good quarterbacks in this league. But
touch base on Justin Fields one more time. How far along would you say he is into being like okay for the year? Obviously, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be mistakes made and everything like that. But just at for the year, how far along would you say he is?
like at this point in time, so obviously not like close to being a great quarterback in the league right now because he isn't doing much right now. He's only passing the ball like 19 times a game. So it's kind of hard to assess where he is right now because he's just simply not doing that much. Like our run game is pretty much handling the show. He's making pretty good throws like every once in a while, but he's not doing so much. So right now, I would still say he's pretty raw. We're close to his full potential, but I feel like by the end of the season, like he could be, maybe top 15 quarterback in this league, right? If like things go the way they should. I mean, obviously we're going to need good play calling for that. We're going to need our receivers to get open down the field, but if we open this thing up eventually, he could be a top 15 quarterback by end of the season.
People have been mad at me because I've said he's not ready right now, and that's okay for him to not be ready right now. As I stated earlier along in a conversation, you get these rookie quarterbacks who are expected to come and just change and shift the culture, and if they don't do that within this given time frame, they're a bust or they're just not ready. Him coming to a team like this who've had no quarterback before him, not had like the coaching staff as well either, like who actually put it into play, because obviously Matt Nagy can look good on paper as an offensive genius or whatever the case may be, but you haven't showed me that. So it's like it's okay for him to not be ready right now. You got to expect the mistakes to come. You got to expect the growing pains. Me personally, I would have liked him to sit behind Dalton a little bit longer just to learn the ropes and see how it's supposed to be ran. He got put in there under injury, which is obviously injuries happen at NFL, but I just think the kid has like more growing to do as well too, and the Bears have to make sure that they're investing in their team and in their staff. So obviously you want to make sure you're drafting offensive linemen who are built for Justin Fields, for your quarterback of the future. So you want to make sure you're putting pieces around him that are going to prolong his career and not ruin him, because I was scared for the kid when we went against Cleveland and they just got after him. You don't want to see him doing that. And as the weeks go on as well too, especially with the Raiders games, taking these hits as well too, you can't have your quarterback taking all of these type of hits as well too if you want him to have a healthy career. So I just feel like the Bears have a little bit of growing to do, because this is their first new toy that has this much potential. So I just want to see them keep investing in the kid, and the Chicago Bears will be all right. Because obviously they have long-term solutions that they need to look at with Allen Robinson as well too. It's up in the air right now, so I definitely think that.
What's going to happen at the end of this year, because we have a lot of people not under contract anymore. Like I think like a third of our team almost is not going to be under contract for next year, so we could see a bunch of changes made for the future. Hopefully they're going to be good changes.
That too, like there's just so many moving parts that the Bears are getting ready to go into, so it's just going to be interesting to watch. Obviously I'm going to roll with my boys, and we'll leave it at that. I greatly appreciate you for coming on the show, bro. I feel really special right now that I didn't like mess it up or anything like that. Seriously, I was like, oh my God, I was sweating before.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.